My name is Irene Green. I'm 31 years old, and I've always believed that if you take care of the details, the big things take care of themselves. That belief shaped everything about my life. I worked as an operations manager for a mid-sized logistics company in Arizona. Not glamorous, not flashy, but stable. The kind of job where precision matters, where systems break if you cut corners, where planning ahead isn't boring, it's survival. I owned my place outright, paid off my car early, kept maintenance logs, color-coded spreadsheets, emergency funds. Some people call that obsessive. I call it respect for the future. And for a long time, I thought the man I was going to marry respected that too. His name was Evan Morales, my fiancé, the man who looked at my ordered life and said, "You make everything feel safe." We'd been together 3 years, engaged for 6 months, wedding planned for October. I met Evan in 2021 at a friend's cookout. He worked as a social media coordinator for a boutique marketing firm downtown. Creative, charismatic, always dressed like he'd just stepped out of a lifestyle shoot. He had that effortless confidence that made people lean in when he spoke. He loved that I had my life together. At least, he said he did. He admired that I could cook real meals, that my furniture wasn't temporary, that my bills were paid before the due date. He used to joke that dating me felt like upgrading to a premium plan. At the time, I laughed. Now I hear it differently. We moved in together after about a year. Split the bills proportionally since I made more. It made sense. That's how partnerships work. Fairness without ego. For the first 2 years, everything felt balanced. He didn't complain when I spent weekends doing maintenance or organizing projects. He'd sit nearby, scrolling on his phone, occasionally filming short clips of me working. Always posting them with captions like "future husband goals" or "stability is hot." His followers loved it. They loved the image of us, especially the part where I was solid enough for him to lean on. His parents loved me too. His dad appreciated that I planned ahead. His mom joked that she'd finally be able to relax knowing Evan was marrying someone responsible. That word came up a lot. Responsible. By late 2023, I was ready to propose. I planned it carefully. Sunset. A quiet overlook, no audience, just us. He cried, said yes, posted immediately. 30 hashtags within minutes. From that moment on, his Instagram became Wedding Central. Venues, mood boards, color palettes, countdown posts, engagement photo shoots. We opened a joint wedding account in December. I contributed around $18,000 over 6 months. Evan added about $4,000. I didn't mind. I earned more. I wanted to do this right. Proportional contributions made sense. Another detail, neatly accounted for. We budgeted everything in a shared spreadsheet. Venue, catering, photographer, flowers, every category assigned a number. Every expense tracked. By April, the account should have had around $22,000. Instead, it had $11,000. I remember staring at the number longer than I needed to. Not panicked, not angry. Just alert. Details matter. And details were starting to disappear. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. Wedding planning was stressful. Expenses added up. Maybe something had been paid early. Maybe I missed a transfer. After all, this was the man I was building a future with. The man who said my stability made him feel safe. I didn't know yet that while I was building something solid for both of us, Evan had already started treating our future like a resource, something to be used quietly, efficiently, and without asking. That realization would come later. For now, all I felt was a faint, unfamiliar unease. The kind you get when a system you trust starts producing numbers that don't make sense. And once you notice that, you can't unsee it. I didn't say anything at first. That's the thing about people like me. We don't panic. We observe, we recheck, we assume error before intent. I logged out of the banking app, logged back in, refreshed, pulled up the spreadsheet we'd built together in December, the one Evan had smiled through while saying, "Wow, you really think of everything." The numbers didn't line up. They still didn't. By mid-April, nearly $11,000 had disappeared in less than 2 months. We hadn't paid the venue balance yet. Catering wasn't due. Photography deposit was already logged, and nowhere near that amount. There were gaps, unlabeled withdrawals, rounded amounts, charges that didn't correspond to anything on our spreadsheet. I waited until after dinner one night when the TV was on low and Evan was scrolling through his phone, half watching, half laughing at something on Instagram. "Hey," I said casually, sliding my phone toward him. "I was checking the wedding account. It's lower than expected. Did we pay for something I missed?" He glanced at the screen for less than a second. "Oh yeah," he said. "I've been handling a lot of wedding stuff." "Like?" "You know," he shrugged. "Suit fittings, shoes, grooming trial, gifts, all the little things people forget." I nodded. "Okay, but it's 11,000 in under 2 months." His smile tightened, just slightly. "Weddings are expensive, Irene. You don't realize how many details there are." "I do," I said gently. "That's why we made a budget. Can you send me the receipts so I can update the tracker?" He waved a hand. "I've got them organized. I'll send everything this weekend." It sounded reasonable. Too reasonable. The weekend came and went. No receipts. Monday passed. Nothing. Wednesday night I asked again. This time less casual. "Evan, can you please send me the breakdown? I really need to reconcile the account." He put his fork down. "Why are you interrogating me?" I blinked. "I'm not. I just want to see where the money went." "You don't trust me with money now?" he snapped. The shift was immediate, defensive, sharp, rehearsed. "I trust you," I said carefully, "but this is our wedding fund. It's not unreasonable to ask for transparency." "You're being controlling." That word landed heavier than I expected. "I'm being responsible," I replied. "Same thing," he said, pushing back from the table. "God, you always have to analyze everything." He walked away, leaving his plate half-finished. That was red flag number 1. I told myself he was stressed, overwhelmed, embarrassed maybe. Wedding pressure does strange things to people. I decided to wait. Give him space. Give him trust. That decision would cost me more than money. Around that same time, Evan started mentioning a coworker more often. Her name was Lena. At first, it was harmless. Lena showed me this great cafe. Lena says I should try a new style. Lena invited me to a spa opening, networking thing. Every weekend suddenly involved Lena. Friday drinks, Saturday shopping, Sunday brunch. I hadn't met her. When I asked, Evan waved it off. "She's just a friend. You don't need to meet everyone I know." But I had met everyone else. Then the spending escalated. I started seeing charges on our shared credit card. $480 at a boutique I'd never heard of. $700 at a spa downtown. $200 at a salon in 1 month. When I asked about it, Evan sighed dramatically. "I work hard. I deserve to look good. My job is visual." "That money is coming from our wedding account," I said. "And?" he replied. "It's still wedding related. I'm the groom." Something in my chest tightened. His phone habits changed too. Always face down. New passcode. Taking calls in the other room. Laughing at messages he wouldn't explain. Whenever I asked what he and Lena did all weekend, he'd shrug. "Just stuff you wouldn't be into." I stopped asking, but I started watching. I told myself this was a phase, a fluke. Stress mixed with ego and opportunity. I told myself the man who said my stability made him feel safe wouldn't risk losing it. What I didn't realize yet was that Evan had already started testing how far he could go, how much he could take, before I noticed. And the truth was, I had noticed. I just wasn't ready to name it. Not yet. That would come on his birthday. Evan's birthday was May 15th. He was turning 28. I planned it carefully, because that's what I do when I love someone. I made reservations at an Italian restaurant he'd been talking about for months. The kind of place with handwritten menus and a wait list you had to book weeks in advance. I bought him a watch he'd casually pointed out once while scrolling online. Nothing flashy, just thoughtful. I had flowers delivered to his office that morning. A small note tucked inside. "Proud of you. Happy birthday." He seemed distracted all day, texting constantly, smiling at his phone in that private, almost secretive way people do when the message isn't meant for everyone. When I asked what was going on, he kissed my cheek and said, "Just excited for tonight." We were supposed to meet at the restaurant at 7 p.m. I arrived at 6:50, checked in, and was shown to a table near the window. I ordered water and waited. 7 came. 7:10. 7:20. I texted him, "Where are you?" No response. At 7:30, I called. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. By 8 o'clock, concern replaced irritation. This wasn't like him. I called his sister. Nothing. Called his mom. She hadn't heard from him either. Then I called Lena. She answered on the third ring, music and voices in the background. "Hello? Hi, this is Irene, Evan's fiancé. Is he with you? We had dinner plans and he's not answering." "Oh," she said lightly. "Yeah, he's fine. He's just having fun with us. He'll text you later." And then she hung up. Just like that. Having fun with us. On his birthday. While I was sitting alone in a restaurant waiting for the man I was supposed to marry. I stayed another 20 minutes, long enough to confirm he wasn't coming. Then I paid for my water and left. When I got home, his car was in the driveway, but Evan wasn't inside. Some of his things were gone. An overnight bag, his nicest jacket, the shoes he'd bought with our money the week before. He hadn't forgotten. He'd planned this. I texted him again. Please let me know you're safe. Nothing. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, switching between worry and something sharper, something colder. Around 3 a.m. I opened Instagram. I wasn't looking to spy. I was looking for reassurance. Something to tell me this wasn't what it felt like. I didn't follow Lena, but Evan did. So I clicked her profile. Her story was still up. The first slide, 2 champagne glasses clinking together in a dimly lit bar. Caption: birthday behavior. The second slide made my stomach drop. A group photo in what looked like a luxury hotel lobby. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, polished to perfection. Evan stood in the center, smiling, genuinely smiling. 2 women I didn't recognize, and 2 other men, well-dressed, confident, expensive-looking. The third slide was a video, 15 seconds. That's all it took. They were at a resort bar, music, mood lighting, top-shelf bottles behind them. Evan was dancing, laughing, and one of the women, tall, dark-haired, elegant, had her arm wrapped around his waist. Not casually, comfortably. His hand rested on her hip. The watch I bought him flashed under the lights. The location tag read, the Grand View Resort and Spa, 2 hours away. 5-star. Rooms starting at prices we'd talked about not paying for our honeymoon. Evan was tagged in the story. Publicly. Every friend, every coworker, every family member who knew we were getting married. I took screenshots. Every slide, every angle. I saved the video. Stories disappear. Evidence doesn't, if you're careful. I sat there replaying it over and over, watching him laugh, watching him lean into someone else, watching him look freer than he had in months. I didn't sleep at all. At 8:30 a.m., I heard a car pull into the driveway. The door opened. Evan walked in like nothing had happened. Hair perfect, clothes unwrinkled, not tired, not guilty. Hey, he said casually. I stared at him. Where were you? Out. Out where? With friends. You disappeared on your birthday, I said. You missed our dinner. You didn't answer your phone. I was worried. He sighed, dropping his bag. Irene, I'm an adult. I don't need to report my whereabouts to you every second. I stood up. You're right. He blinked. What? You're an adult, I said calmly. You don't owe me an explanation. Relief flickered across his face. But, I continued, pulling out my phone, before you shower, I found something interesting last night. His expression shifted. What are you talking about? I opened Instagram, showed him the first screenshot, the champagne, then the lobby photo, then the video. He watched himself on my screen, watched the woman's arm around his waist, watched his name tagged at the bottom. His face went white. When did you, he started. 3 a.m, I said, when I couldn't sleep because my fiancé vanished. Silence. So, I said quietly, where were you really? The lies were about to collapse, and we were just getting started. Evan stared at the phone like it had betrayed him. That's not, he started, then stopped, swallowed, tried again. That's not what it looks like. I sat down across from him. Then explain it, I said calmly, because from where I'm standing, you ditched me on your birthday, disappeared overnight, and spent the night at a 5-star resort with strangers while wearing the watch I bought you. He rubbed his face. We just went out for drinks. At a resort 2 hours away, I said, with rooms that require an overnight stay. We got a room, he admitted quickly, but nothing happened. Who was she? I asked. The woman with her arm around your waist. Silence. Was she a friend of Lena's? He didn't answer. So she wasn't just a random guest. He exhaled, shoulders slumping. They're friends of friends. Friends who paid for everything? I pressed. Because there's no way you and Lena covered that on your salaries. His jaw tightened. What does that matter? It matters, I said evenly, because it explains where our wedding money went. That landed. His eyes flicked up to mine, then away. You spent money from our joint account, I continued, to impress people you were meeting behind my back. You don't understand, he said quickly. This isn't cheating. Then what is it? He hesitated, long enough to tell me the truth before he spoke it. Lena introduced me to this arrangement, he finally said, a few months ago. I stayed silent. Some people, successful people, they don't want relationships, he rushed on. They're busy. They just want company, someone attractive to go places with, events, trips, dinners. I tilted my head. So, paid companionship. No, he said sharply. It's not like that. Then explain it again, I said, slower. He stared at the floor. They pay for experiences, hotels, meals, clothes, grooming. It's about presentation. And you're the presentation, I said. He didn't deny it. And the $11,000? I asked. That was for what? Your presentation? I needed clothes, he said weakly. You don't understand how expensive it is to look right in those spaces. I laughed. Once. Short. Empty. You spent our wedding money, I said, to make yourself appealing to other women. When you say it like that, that's exactly how it is, I cut in. You stole from our future to fund your side life. It was our money, he snapped. I had a right to use it. You had a right to use it for our wedding, I said, not to play escort for people who don't know I exist. Tears welled in his eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you. Did you sleep with her? I asked. No. I didn't blink. Don't lie to me again. Silence. Then, barely audible, not usually. Something inside me went still. So sometimes, I said. It didn't mean anything. I stood up. We're done. What? He looked panicked. No, Irene, please. You cheated, I said. You lied, you stole, there's nothing left. We can fix this. No, I replied calmly. You broke it systematically, on purpose. I opened the front door. Leave. He hesitated, tried to argue, tried to cry. I didn't move. Eventually, he picked up his bag and walked out. When the door closed, I stood there for a long moment. Then the part of me that runs logistics took over. I sat down, opened my laptop, and began dismantling the life he thought he could quietly live behind my back. I didn't cry. Not right away. I sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, hands steady, breathing slow. Shock had a way of sharpening me. When emotions threatened to spill over, I gave myself a task. Something measurable, something I could finish. First, the joint wedding account. 6 months of statements, downloaded, exported, sorted by date and merchant. I built a new spreadsheet, my spreadsheet, and started labeling every transaction. Once I knew what to look for, the pattern was impossible to miss. Boutique clothing stores I'd never heard of, high-end makeup counters, salon appointments twice a week, spas, facials, manicures, restaurants with prices that assumed someone else was paying, hotels scattered across the state, always weekends, always upscale. Evan's $4,000 contribution was gone. Every dollar spent polishing his image for other people. My $18,000 had been quietly drained to fund the rest. I transferred the remaining balance to my personal account and locked the joint one. Then I called my credit card company. Evan had been an authorized user. It made sense when we were building a life together. It made no sense now. The representative removed his access immediately and canceled his card. When she offered to review recent charges, I said yes. Another 2,800s in the last 2 weeks alone. Legitimate purchases, technically. I couldn't dispute them. But I could stop the bleeding. Next call, a locksmith. 2 hours later, the locks were rekeyed. Then I boxed up his things. Clothes folded neatly, shoes paired, toiletries sealed, everything labeled, efficient, impersonal. I stacked the boxes by the door. After that, I blocked him everywhere. Phone, Instagram, Facebook, email. Silence felt better than I expected. 3 days later, his sister called. Irene, he's devastated. He made a mistake. No, I said calmly. He made a system. His mother tried next. I didn't engage. A week later, Evan showed up. I didn't let him in. We talked through the door. I'm sorry, he said. I'll do anything to fix this. You already did everything to break it, I replied. I don't have anywhere to go. That's not my problem. Can I at least get my stuff? It's boxed. I'll leave it outside tomorrow. You're being cruel. I laughed softly. You disappeared overnight to sleep at a luxury resort with strangers while I waited for you on your birthday. Silence. I closed the door. 2 weeks after that, an unknown number called. Irene? A woman's voice asked, hesitant. My name is Marissa. I was at the resort. I listened. She apologized, said they'd been told Evan was single, said she'd ended things immediately when she found out. It didn't change anything, but it confirmed what I already knew. A month later, I sold the engagement ring. I got about 60% of what I paid. I used the money to take a solo trip to Colorado. 2 weeks of hiking, quiet mornings, and space. Stability isn't boring. It's just invisible until someone tries to steal it. Evan lost his job not long after. The image he sold required funding. Without my money, without the arrangement, it collapsed. Last I heard, he'd moved back in with his mother. As for me, I kept my life. Every detail, every boundary.